Hi, my name is Ruth Almen. I'm head of the social work department at the Ruvo Center for Brain Health, Cleveland Clinic, Nevada. Happy to be here today to talk about the yoga program we've developed, along with Sandy Chapman as well as Jacky Pagone, who thankfully, because we're doing it virtually, can be involved, and you can hear directly from her about her part of this program. 3 years ago, when I came to work at the center, the two MS physicians had really wanted to have yoga as an option for their patients. But so they didn't want to send them to just any yoga program, even though they knew yoga would be helpful, but really wanted to have something that was coordinated with people's medical care and really a component of the whole package of care that they received here at Ruvo. So, well, as you can see from this picture, we started small. People reported that they loved the community that was built, the friends that they made. They felt like it was really good for their overall well-being. They talked to their physicians about it all the time. But we had some challenges, I think. We found free space that was donated to us, but it was on the far east side of the city, and culture of Vegas is people don't like to drive from east to west in the city, and I think that hampered some of our attendance numbers. So again, as we look to expand, and we were switching and looking for new yoga instructors, we had some lessons learned. I think one of the really important things is to think about finding the right yoga people. This is not just sending folks with MS to any yoga instructor in any yoga class. So I was specifically looking for someone who could teach yoga, who might understand about the unique needs of certain populations of people. And so we found the right people, and it's absolutely worth doing. And then I think the other thing is to maximize your community connections. If you're in a center like ours, how do you use the people in the town and the people that you work with? And so our connection with Yoga for Life helped us to find then a yoga studio that had downtime, and they were able to work with us again and work directly with Yoga for Life to help make that happen. And that sense again for people about you can go to a yoga studio just like everybody else. We've also really maximized the ability to say, how do people tell their own stories about this? And you'll get to see some of that today. We know that people have continued to talk about their experiences to their doctors, so some of that feedback happens very naturally. And it's also important, again, I think, to find the right staff to support this. So I was very grateful when we hired someone who did yoga herself and knew more about it than I did. And I think that's also been a really important thing. The other piece is we're really lucky here at the center to have a big philanthropy department and a lot of support that way. So while we started with money from a family fund that had been donated, this class is now paid for out of our operating budget. Not everybody's going to be that lucky, but what I want to say is I think there's ways for you to work together with people who are experiencing really good outcomes with their MS and their yoga classes, to go to your Rotary, to find a local family foundation, to maybe go to a community foundation. I think there's ways, again, for you to do that, to have people tell their stories about why it's successful, to help you find further funding. And with that, I'll pass it on to Sandy.
Hello, my name is Sandy Chapman, and I'm the social worker for the multiple sclerosis team for the Cleveland Clinic. And I came on board about 1.5 years ago, and one of the things that we found was that prior to and after our yoga class, people were just kind of hanging around wanting to talk to each other. So we decided we were going to start a support group. And I'm going to talk more in depth about that later after Jacky does a little bit about the yoga presentation. But as the evolution occurred, initially we had the caregivers separated and doing their own thing and meditation in a different room. And we now have combined the group, partly because I think the caregivers and the participants really wanted to have that experience together. We also have other resources for home practice, including meditations and pre-recorded practice. And we've included the information there, so in case you want to view that yourself, you can. And with that, I'm going to have Jacky talk a little bit about the actual practice.
Thank you, Sandy. So I'm Jacky. I am the creator and director of Yoga for Life Las Vegas. And one of the things that we do with Yoga for Life is we make sure that our teachers are well-versed in working with all populations. Yoga is an inclusive thing, and we often see yoga as a fancy poses and something that's not accessible, and that is not the case. So what we do in the class is we make sure that the poses are accessible and they're cued in a very welcoming way so that everyone who participates in the class is able to get into an expression of the shape that is beneficial for them. So it helps their mind and body connect, it allows them to notice their breathing, and it creates the environment that everyone can do yoga. So some of the things that we'll do is we'll have the option to stay seated the entire time. You don't have to get up and stand, or you can. And again, that cueing is important, so our teachers are able to cue that shape safely and comfortably. We have bolsters, blocks, blankets, pillows, straps, all these great yoga props accessible to our participants to make the shapes accessible and beneficial for them. One of the things that we've done through our virtual, which Sandy will speak to later, of how we've adapted the class virtually, is we've made sure that our classes are safe. If people are practicing from home or they're using one of our pre-recorded classes as a way to practice their yoga, that the cues are there, and the props, if they're used at all during the practice, are things that they have around the home, so that they're not feeling like, oh, I can't practice yoga because I'm not in the studio, or I can't practice yoga because I don't have someone to help me, or I can't practice yoga because I don't have the props needed. That's not the case. Our goal is to make yoga accessible to all participants. So one of the other things that we've done, as Sandy had mentioned about the meditations, is we have them part of the class, and we have them accessible later as well, so that if you're not feeling like yoga is something that you can do physically in your body that day, because we know that every day our body feels a little bit different, that the meditation is accessible. So sometimes it's a short one, sometimes they're a little bit longer, but they are specifically created and designed through the cueing of the meditations to allow deep relaxation and a reset of the nervous system, because we know that when the nervous system has an opportunity to go into balance, that it's empowering for your mind and body, it's healing, and it is also allowing the immune system to be boosted, which is incredibly important. Some of the resources that we've had available are USBs of pre-recorded USB drives of pre-recorded classes and meditations given to the participants, and now we have them as free online resources as well. So I will have Sandy come back and speak more about the support group.
Thank you, Jackie. So the support group, just a couple of tips that we learned about this. We didn't call it a support group, and we decided we'd do that intentionally, and I learned that from my yogis, because as Jackie said, everybody's body feels different every day, and we noticed that our MS patients had a lot of difficulty getting to the class itself. So we intentionally said, just come whenever you can. When we did it live on Fridays, we would have it the hour before, and people would show up sometimes for the entire hour, sometimes they would be there for just 10 minutes, and we really encouraged them just to come in. And because we didn't really call it a support group, we said it was a sharing time, I think that encouraged a lot of people to come. We also talked about a variety of topics, and I have a picture up there because during the time that we were doing yoga, we had one of our participants die unexpectedly, and it was a really good opportunity for us to take the hour before to really process this, and then very intentionally we said there was a yoga mat set up where our participant had been, and we had a chance to really do some meditation around the whole process. And we really felt like that. I mean, I feel very strongly that if people can, and I think I heard this from the participants afterwards, if you have an opportunity to talk about death, that door really opened up, and the more that you can embrace and feel okay about that, I think the more fully you can live your life. We also talk a lot about cognition, jobs, employment, and it isn't unusual to have somebody come in and spend probably the first 3 weeks that they come just really emotional and very apologetic, and then other people who have also had that kind of experience, they say, hey, don't feel bad, I've been there, done that, and then they go into, it's really nice because they go into the yoga practice, and often within about 10 minutes they're snoring, and we have to wake them up. So I think it's really been a very good opportunity for people to connect their emotions and then have some process to take care of it. And then we did a virtual expansion as of March 20th, and so we added a Wednesday group. We did the support piece afterwards, and we found that wasn't as helpful because people are too relaxed and don't seem to want to be able to do that. And I do have some statistics there about the number of visits, over 600 since 2017, and the average number of people is about 10. And so I would like to share a video with you that will give you an opportunity to see this firsthand.
transformation is priceless. Them being able to build their strength, change their state of mind, build a little balance, find a little relief in their weekly activities, and being able to be themselves.
When I heard about them doing this through Cleveland Clinic for MS, I thought that it would be interesting to come and do a class that was specific for that disease, which I happen to have. And it's really been helpful.
I feel it helps both the emotional and the physical part of their life.
Child's pose, that's my favorite one. That's the easiest one, but it seems to help me the most.
It gives them something to relate to, that they're not on this path alone.
It's a good thing to be able to talk. Like, how do you handle this? What do you do with that? You know, what's your experience? And even though our experiences weren't the same, because MS is different for everyone, it was extremely gratifying to me to connect with another human being.
Benefit also because for the caregivers, we're offered meditation and I take well advantage of it. That's pretty awesome.
When you're in this together, you're really in it together, right? And so this moment of separation where she can be with people that are also dealing with the same issue, and I can be with people who are dealing with this, with their spouses or loved ones at the same time is huge. The time away sounds cold, but it isn't time away. It's time to be working on things independently.
Every Friday she looks forward to it. There's no appointments or no events that can get in the way of the Friday yoga.
And there's also an element of confidence. So she's willing to try some things I think that otherwise in daily life she may not be trying.
My wife and I have noticed Kara's improvement in flexibility, strength, definitely her balance, but most of all her self-confidence and self-esteem, which is probably the most important.
Instructors are fabulous. They're very patient with everyone and let your body do what it needs to do, which is something I really appreciate.
Instructors here, they're just, knowledgeable and so caring. It's really just a wonderful, wonderful program.
So as you can see, self-reports are that they have improved self-stress management, sleep quality has been improved, breathing exercises outside of yoga class are very helpful. I happen to use them when I'm running and doing things. Deeper body awareness, improved confidence, community connection, a weekly event to look forward to. And this was something that kind of struck us, but ability to safely get on and off the floor, increased independence, and positive outlook on life. And these are by self-report, and as you can see, our participants really enjoy coming to yoga. So in discussion, yoga is emerging as a potentially useful complementary strategy to MS health. Self-care, stress management, connectedness, and physical movement are components of health. And we use the yoga poses uniquely adapted to the MS participants. And as you can see in the video, as well as the yoga instructors, I'm at all the classes so that there's a great connection between our support groups and our instructors, and we know each other fairly well. We have a positive benefit from the support hour, best to do it prior to the class. Dealing openly with the disease allows the participants to really embrace life. And we connect the emotional and physical components together. And with the onset of COVID, the virtual options have proved very useful. So future directions, we want to resume in-person yoga sessions and support, but maintain the virtual options. We find here, particularly because of the heat, people have a very difficult time, as well as transportation, getting to the classes, so they've really asked that we maintain those. We want to expand our recorded practices, formally evaluate the impact of yoga on MS, and probably, as with most of you in COVID, a lot of that stuff has gone on the wayside as we're trying to help folks. And we're going to look for support to fund our transportation. And here are acknowledgements, and I want to thank everyone who's participated in this, but most importantly, the participants, because they've really changed the lives of each other and myself. Thank you.